the gods of the Phoenicians, compared with Babylonian and Assyrian. The Phoenicians, who were the lineal descendants of the Canaanites, adopted many of the deities of Babylonia. Like the early deities of that great empire, the Phoenician gods had three branches, associated either with the earth, the waters, or the air. Some of these, in later times, held sway over more than one element. Thus, the god Melkarth of Tyre had both a celestial and marine aspect. And Baal and Astarte assumed celestial attributes, in addition to their earthly one. I remind you of what I found in relation to Elu-Im. Elu, the cardinal number, the number 7, which also means awaken the watchers from their slumber. So when we see 7 figures on a clay tablet, that is Elu-Im. Yet again, we learn more from the Lamashtu stele, and that is confirmation of its purpose, Elu-Im. In Sumerian Akkadian, El is Il or Al, and also Ol. The Phoenicians described their gods in general as Alonim, much as the Israelites in early times must have described theirs. For we find in the first chapters of Genesis, the word Elohim is employed. It would appear that Spence and I are on the same page, as they both then went back to the singular form of El, the common Semitic name for God, adding it to the Semitic plural ending M. That is not monotheism, it is polytheism, as M is a plural. The divine storm tablet. But the great storm refers to the demons within the Abzu, because the word father is also offspring, tears, and flood, and refers to the demons trapped within the abyss, or the outer darkness. Hence the need for a flood tablet, the Elu-Im, to awaken the watchers from their slumber. And of course, the bringer of the life-giving rain is the god Sin, An-Zu, the lion-faced demon and divine storm bird, whose symbol is 3 branches, one could say a trinity. The god of the locality or shrine was known as its Baal, and as in early times, this did not apply to any particular deity. Although their gods all had names, yet still they were merely the Baalim of Tyre, a legion who all serve the same purpose, the chief of whom was Melkarth, whose name merely signifies the word king or patron of the city. Now the word king is Malak, cognate with Mamatim and Anunnaki. It also means messenger, and this message is a complaint, almost as if they are invoking the wrath of Malak. Perhaps one of the most venerated gods was Baal Haman, who was worshipped in Carthage, a Phoenician colony. One of the most strongly marked characteristics of the Phoenician religion was the unvarying addition of a female to every male god. This is Baalem, to twist and convulse with the original worship of the mother goddess. These were then united within Ishtar. I believe they have created a female version of Legion, and this is how the seven become the Pleiades. Astarte, or Ishtar, was quite popular in modern Phoenicia, as she has been in ancient Canaan. It must be borne in mind that Tyre and Sidon were closely in touch with Assyria, and that their ships probably carried Assyrian commerce far and wide throughout the Mediterranean. It's almost as if we have an army on the earth, a navy in the sea, and those upon horseback up in the air. I said this long ago. The Scythians, Phoenicians, and Assyrians appear to be an army, navy, and air force. I'll guarantee that the iconography differs, and like placing the statue of Sin beyond the borders of Assyria to expand their land, the artwork will differ from that of the Assyrians. What I mean is Sin instead of Shamash. But either way, they are father and son, so you can't have one without the other. And the lion of the ether is known as both father and son. The Phoenicians were exchanging Syrian goods for Egyptian, Cyprian, and Hellenic. Astarte, or Ishtar, had temples in Sidon and Ascalon, and Phoenician mariners seem to have carried her worship as far as Cyprus and even Sicily. That means the child of Sin was placed within Ishtar and then promoted to all of these regions. I ask you, is there a difference between promoting the children of Sin or worshipping Sin yourself? I remind you again, the lion of the ether is known as both father and son, the same forwards as back, as above, so below. Sin is a jealous god. Indeed, it was probably through their agency that she was introduced into the Greek world, but there were Greek colonies on the shore of Asia Minor at an early date, and these may have transferred her cult to the people of their own race in the Greek motherland. It's worth noting here that the term Africa simply means motherland. Therefore, every country has an Africa, a motherland, which is not actually Africa. I also noticed that it refers to dust. Yeah. Therefore, Prometheus, or God creating man from clay, from dust, meaning red clay, which is again Africa, yet not Africa. So do tell me again about Africa being the motherland of all races. Another goddess especially honored at Carthage was Tanith, who was also called the countenance of Baal. Ishmun, the god of vital force and healing, seems to have been worshipped, especially at Sidon, but also at Carthage. Melkarth, the patron deity of Tyre, the Greeks equated with Hercules. He also becomes the god of bile, as the omen reading ritual is passed over to Hercules, the ritual of hepatoscopy, the reading of the liver, hence the god of bile. Resheph, the lightning god, was of Syrian origin and was identified by the Greeks with Apollo. We have a temple to Apollo here in Sunderland, of course connected to a serpent's mound, where the little ones went missing, merged with the myth of the Lambton worm. It was built by Freemasons in 1844. The Phoenicians were prone to fuse their gods one with another, so that we have such combinations as Eshum Melkarth, Melkarth Resheph, and so forth. Phoenician religion was so strongly influenced by Egyptian ideas, and Plutarch has put it on record that when Ish Ish, Kur Kur, Netherworld Netherworld, Mountain Mountain, the realm of darkness, sorry, but I have to be cryptic, that when this goddess, identified by this word when doubled, journeyed to Byblos, she was called Astarte. So this Ish, pit, is cognate with Ash, curse. Certain Phoenician settlers in Piraeus, the port of Athens, worshipped An Anzu under the form of the Assyrian god Nergal, the mystery, the greater and the lesser, and the cave of Pan, the All, is found beneath the foundation of Athens, and many of the proper names are compounded of the names of Babylon's deities. The worship of Moloch was also popular in Phoenicia, where he was called Melech, Melech, Malak, Mamitim, Anunnaki, alternatively Moloch, meaning king, messenger, or angel, and to him, to them, to it, to woo. As to the Moloch of other Semitic people, infants were offered up in sacrifice. The Phoenicians likewise adopted the custom of burning the chief god of the city in an effigy, or in the person of a human representative, at Tyre and Carthage. Burnt offerings were made in honor of the dunghill cock, Nergal, An Anzu, a lion-faced demon, identified as a curse protecting the tablet, and if we awaken him from his slumber, the Abzu, legion, will flood mankind. As you can see, the divine storm bird is the storm tablet itself. We know very little concerning Phoenician myth. We cannot credit what is written by Philo of Byblos concerning it, as he admitted he used as his authority the writings of one Sanchuniathon, an ancient Phoenician sage, who, he says, derived his information from the inscribed stones in Phoenician temples. And also all the work of Sanchuniathon is preserved in the works of Eusebius. It would seem, however, to be unfair to regard Eusebius as the inventor of Sanchuniathon. As we have already remarked, in the paragraphs dealing with the legend of Owens or Ea. Several of the myths, as coming from the Phoenician sage, are manifestly of Babylonian origin. Like all Semites, the Phoenicians closely identified themselves with their gods, in whom, if inscriptions can be believed, they seemed to find a great deal of comfort. They were assiduous devotees, meaning showing great care and perseverance, to their several cults, and one prone to sacrifice, as were their cousins of Babylonia. Their voyages and mercantile ventures made them firm believers in the efficacy of divination, and it cannot be doubted that the trade of the seer in ancient Tyre or Sidon must have been a flourishing one indeed.